Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Hare Krishna Vidya Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All Guru Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Mataji, whenever you are ready, you can please start Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamuriraye. Nasta Prayeshu Apareshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Nasteke. Today we are reading from Canto 10, chapter 20, the rainy season at autumn in Vrindavan. Text 16 through 31. Text 16. During the rainy season, the roads, not being cleansed, became covered with grass and debris and were thus difficult to make out. These roads were like religious scriptures that Brahmanas no longer study and that thus become corrupted and covered over the passage of time. Text 17. Though the clouds are the well-wishing friends of all living beings, the lightning, fickle in its affinities, moved from one group of clouds to another, like lusty women unfaithful even to virtuous men. Text 18. When the curved bow of Indra, the rainbow, appeared in the sky, which had the quality of thundering sound, it was unlike ordinary bows, because it did not rest upon a string. Similarly, when the Supreme Lord appears in this world, which is the interaction of the material qualities, he is unlike ordinary persons because he remains free from all material qualities and independent of all material conditions. Text 19. During the rainy season, the moon was prevented from appearing directly by the covering of the clouds, which were themselves illumined by the moon's rays. Similarly, the living being in material existence is prevented from appearing directly by the covering of the false ego, which is itself illumined by the consciousness of the pure soul. Text 20. The peacocks became festive and cried out a joyful greeting when they saw the clouds arrive, just as people distressed in household life feel pleasure when the pure devotees of infallible Supreme Lord visit them. Text 21. The trees had grown thin and dry, but after they drank the newly fallen rainwater through their feet, their various bodily features blossomed. Similarly, one whose body has grown thin and weak from austerity again exhibits his healthy bodily features upon enjoying the material objects gained through that austerity. Text 22. The cranes continued dwelling on the shores of the lakes, although the shores were agitated during the rainy season, just as materialistic persons with contaminated minds always remain at home despite the many disturbances there. Text 23. When Indra sent forth his rains, the floodwaters broke through the irrigation dikes in the agricultural fields, just as in the Kali Yuga, the atheist false theories break down the boundaries of Vedic injunctions. Text 24. The clouds, impelled by the winds, release their nectarine water for the benefit of all living beings, just as kings, instructed by their Brahmana priests, dispense charity to the citizens. Text 25. When the Vrindavan forest had thus become resplendent, filled with ripe dates and jambu fruits, Lord Krishna, surrounded by his cows and cowherd boyfriends and accompanied by Sri Balarama, entered the forest to enjoy. Text 26. The cows had to move slowly because of their weighty milk bags, but then quickly ran to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as soon as he called them, their affection for him causing their udders to become wet. Text 27. The Lord saw the joyful Abaranj girls of the forest, the trees dripping sweet sap, and the mountain waterfalls whose resounding indicated that there were caves nearby. Text 28. When it rained, The Lord would sometimes enter a cave or the hollow of a tree to play and to eat roots and fruits. Text 29. Lord Krishna would take his meal of boiled rice and yogurt sent from home in the company of Lord Sankarsana and the cowherd boys who regularly ate with him. They would all sit down to eat on a large stone near the water. Text 30 and 31. Lord Krishna watched the contented bulls, calves, and cows sitting on the green grass and grazing with closed eyes. And he saw that the cows were tired from the burden of their heavy milk bags. Thus, observing the beauty and opulence of Vrindavan's rainy season, a perennial source of great happiness, the Lord offered all respects to that season, which was expanded from his own internal potency. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Vindhya Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Venudas, Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Prabhuji, please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining for today's Bhagavatam session. Thank you, Vidya Mataji, for reading today's Bhagavatam section, Slokas translation. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 20, the rainy season and autumn in Vrindavan, from Slokas 16 to 31. And thank you, Sundarananda Prabhu, for giving this opportunity to share a few points from the purports for my own purification. We'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatta Deshitarani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So just to give a background, we are in the section of Krishna's wonderful, beautiful pastimes of that he performed in Vrindavan. So in the last chapter also we saw how Krishna saved the cows and cowherd boys from the great fire which has happened in the Munjaranya forest. And in this chapter, so Sukadeva Goswami is narrating the beauty of Vrindavan in the rainy season or during the autumn. In the last session we heard a few slokas from 1 to 15 talks about the beauty of Vrindavan in the autumn season, and now we are continuing that from the 16th sloka. So in the 16th sloka we see that how the Vrindavan looks during the rainy season. So during the rainy season, the roads, so obviously they are not cleaned because of the rainy, and due to that so the roads will be covered with grass and debris, and so it's difficult to make it out so that there is a road or not. And there is a nice comparison and analogy is given for many of the slokas like here. So these roads were like religious scriptures that Brahmanas no longer study, and thus they become corrupted and covered with over the passage of time. So generally the Brahmanas, so we have 4 varnas, Chaturvarnam, Maya system, Guna Karma Vibhagasha, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So the 4 varnas as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And Brahmanas, each varna has their own activities that they have to perform. And Brahmanas activities are mentioned, Patana Patan, Ejanayajan and Dana Pratigraha. So reading the scriptures and helping others to read or understand the scriptures, and performing the yajnas and help others or inspire others to perform the yajnas, and then take the charity and utilize that charity that they get in the process of Krishna consciousness, or to expand this Krishna conscious process to others. So if the Brahmanas they don't read, na abhyasayamanaha, so they don't study, then what happens over a period of time? These scriptures are covered, kalena. So by the effect of time, what happens? Ahataha, they are corrupted. So and if they don't read and they don't inspire others to read and explain them, then what happens that the future generations, so they may not know, or they will not show any interest to read because they are not trained. So then the scriptures will be lost and they will be covered by time. So like we see that these modern days, so most of the people, they show interest in studying material science, not the spiritual subject matter. So but if you read the spiritual subject matter, then our heart will be purified. Nasta prayesha patreshu. So the anardas will go away and then we'll become blissful and peaceful and happy. But if we read the material subject matter, then our anardas will increase. Our lust, anger, greed, those will be increased more and more, and then we'll continue to suffer. So that's a brahmana's duty, is to help others to read the scriptures. So nowadays, because people are not reading, so they don't know who is the author of the scriptures also. Like if somebody, one time I heard when someone asked who is the author of Ramayana, they told Ramananda Sagar, because he is the one who filmed the uh, Ramayana using based on the Tulsi Das Ramayana. But they do not know that, some of them, they don't know that it is Valmiki who wrote the Ramayana, like that. And when people don't know, what happens is, some people, they take advantage and they come up with their own meanings, and then using those explanations, they misdirect the general population. So that's why here it says that the scriptures are corrupted. So because over a period of time, if nobody uses, some people may take advantage and then they misdirect the general people. And with that, what happens is the general population will lose the great opportunity to make their human life successful. So similarly, the roads also covered with grass and debris in the rainy season. And the next sloka we see that though the clouds are well-wishing friends of all living beings, but the lightning, what happens is it will be moving from one group of clouds to other group. And there is a comparison, lusty woman, unfaithful even to virtuous man. So during the rainy season, the lightning, what happens is, it will appear in one group, and after some time it will appear another group. And even though the clouds are here compared as a qualified person, virtuous man, because generally the clouds they pour the rain, so they will give sustenance to many people. Loka bandhushu megheshu, like these meghas, clouds, they are loka bandhushu, they will help people to sustain because they pour the rain. So similarly, though a man is qualified, but his wife is a lusty woman, then what happens is he will be unchaste and he will look for other paramours to have a opposite gender union. And here what happens is the man who is the he helps many people, like basically he takes care of the family, wife and kids, and also if he has a business, then he will have some workers whom he has to maintain, like that. But if the wife or woman is causing disturbance to the man, or through the even sometimes it goes up to the divorce also. So if that happens, then the man will be disturbed, and then the whole family will be ruined. Like nowadays we see that the rate of the divorce is increasing, and due to that the kids are suffering, the children are suffering, because the children will be dispersed and they will not probably have a good care or studies, or then they will be grown up in a wrong association, and they will cause trouble to the society. And even if the business is closed, then people who are dependent on the business will also be impacted. So, and also we see that these days, so when either man or woman, if they have illegal relationship, they can go to an extent where they will kill other person. Like the man can kill his wife, or the wife can kill her own husband due to the lusty nature. So that's why here in the purport, so it is stressed that So the man and woman should live peacefully in Krishna consciousness, keeping all our activities surrounded by Krishna consciousness, and focusing in progressing Krishna consciousness, and helping the children also to progress in the path of bhakti. Then everyone will be happy like that. And the next sloka we see that the rainbow, so the curved bow of Indra, appeared in the sky, which had the quality of thundering sound, unlike ordinary bows, because it did not rest upon a string. So it's generally a bow is curved because the two ends of the bow is tied with a string. But here the rainbow, uh, though it looks like a bow, but there is no string. There is no string, and also it rests upon the sky, and it looks very beautiful. So similarly, the comparison is given. So the Supreme Lord appears in this world, and this world is the interaction of the material qualities. We have these three material qualities, right? Sattva, Rajo, Tamaguna. So all the material bodies are the activities that most of the conditioned living entities performs in this material world are all the interaction of these material bodies, Sattva, Rajo, Tamaguna. So, though Krishna appears in this material world, which is the interaction of the material qualities, unlike ordinary persons, he remains free from all material qualities and independent of all material conditions. So, and Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, right? So, his birth is not ordinary. Janma karma chame divyam. So, his birth is transcendental. And when he appears through his internal potency. Sambhavami Atma Maya. Unlike the conditioned living entities in this material who is forced to take a certain body and pushed into a mother's womb and stay for some time and then take a birth like that. Unlike that, Krishna appears on his own desire through his internal potency, coming through with his spiritual body, Sachidananda Vigraha, like that. So, not like others' body. And in fact, Krishna is the owner of the master of the, under his direction, this material nature is working. Maya Dekshana Prakriti Suyate Sacha Achara. So, even for us also, if we need to go back home, back to Godhead, we have to rise above the three modes. That's what Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita. Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. So, we have to rise above the three modes so that we can situate in the transcendental platform and then go back home, back to Godhead. The next sloka, so during the rainy season, what happens is the moon was prevented from appearing directly because they are covered by the clouds. Still, these clouds are illuminated because the moon rays are helping to illuminate these clouds. So, in the rainy season, the clouds covers the moon, but the moon is gives the lightning. So, because the moon is on the back side, so that light will fall on the cloud, and we will see, for us, we will see the cloud shining. But that shining is coming from the moon. Due to the moon's lighting, these clouds are showing as illuminated for us, because our vision is covered by the clouds. We are not able to see the moon. So similarly here, the living being in material existence is prevented from appearing directly by the covering of the false ego, so which itself illuminated by the consciousness of the pure soul. So similarly, we are also pure spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and due to that, this material body is illuminated, because since the soul is there, that spiritual consciousness is there in the body, so this material body is functioning. Otherwise, this material body is dull matter. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? So because of the energy of the soul, the energy of the soul is consciousness. Because of that, this body is illuminated. Ena sarvamidam tatam. So that consciousness is pervade the entire body, and due to that, the body is illuminating or functioning. So otherwise, it is a dull material body. So that consciousness is basically covered by the false ego, because we think that we are this body and we are connected to this material world and or to some country or family like that. So our pure spiritual consciousness is covered by this false ego, and due to that we are not able to think that we are the pure spirit soul and part and parcel of Krishna. So instead we think that we are this material body, or we belong to this material world, and we work or we perform all our activities in that consciousness, thinking that we are this body. And in the next sloka, so we see that the peacocks they become festive and cried out joyful greetings when they saw the clouds arrive. And the comparison is given that the people distress in the household life feel pleasure when the pure devotees of the infallible Supreme Lord visit them. In the purport it is mentioned that after the dry summer season, the peacocks becomes jubilant because of the thundering rain clouds. So they will dance in great happiness. Quoting Srila Prabhupada comment that how the distressed household life, so they will feel pleasure when the pure devotees meet him. So they will visit them. So and Prabhupada also mentions in the commentary, they saying that there is a practical experience. So many of the Prabhupada's disciples at that time, so they are dry and morose, even though they are born in this rich country and they have all facilities, but they were morose. But when they come in contact with Krishna consciousness, then they became jubilant, and they, with so much happiness, they are dancing. So that's what Prabhupada says. That's the power of the association. Achyuta Jana, the pure devotees, when one come in association with the pure devotees, then they become very happy. So we have many examples right in the scriptures. So that acquired Ratnakara, he became a great saintly personality, Valmiki Mahamuni, and the Mrugari, so who was a hunter killing animals. So with the association of Narada Muni, he became a great saintly personality and blissful. So that's why the Shastra says that Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrakaya Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhaya. So just by the association of the pure devotees, then one become their human life successful. So then the next sloka, so we see that the trees had grown thin and dry after they drank the newly fallen rainwater, then their bodily features blossomed. And the comparison is given that somebody who has performed great austerity, when they are performing austerity, their body becomes weak. But as soon as what they have, they were looking from the austerity, they achieved it, then they start enjoying those material objects, and then they become healthy. So we see that in the many in the scriptures also we see that many asuras also, they perform great austerity. Like Hiranyakashipu, he performed a severe austerity, and once the benedictions what he wanted are received by Lord Brahma through that austerity, when he performed austerity, his body became very thin and weak. But once the boons are received and then austerity is completed, then he started enjoying with his powers, and then again he became powerful. Of course, Lord Brahma also blessed him and brought his body back. But from that time onwards, again he is healthy. Of course, because he is Asura, he misutilized the powers, and then at the end he was killed in the hands of the Supreme Lord. So similarly, if we also start enjoying all the material things, so we will be destroyed. Instead, if we can utilize in the Krishna consciousness, then it will become perfect. So then in the next sloka, the cranes continued dwelling on the shores of the lakes, although the shores were agitated during the rain season. So similarly, materialistic person's contaminated mind always remain at home. And in the purport, it is mentioned that during the rainy season, what happens is these mudslides around the shores of the lakes and thorny bushes and stones, because water is flowing. All these stones or thorny things, they will come and they will be next to the lake. Though there are all kind of challenges are there, but these ducks, these cranes, they will be dwelling on the shores of the lakes, going through those troubles and problems. So similarly, materialistic persons whose mind is contaminated, he always stay in home, remain at home, even though there are so many disturbances are there. So many challenges are there in the samsara dhavanam, right? This family life or the life in this material world, there are so many challenges, but still um, one remains at home, but not taking Krishna conscious sincerely and seriously. Of course, in the earlier yugas, they retire from the family life and um, give his wife's in charge to the elder son or their sons, and then they go to forest and um, completely meditate or focus on their Krishna consciousness. But of course, as in Kali Yuga is progressing, so it may be very challenge, but Bhagavatam says that sthane sthiti sutigatam tanuvan manobir. So you can stay wherever you are, and then keep Krishna in the center of all our activities, make our human life successful. Then we can ajito jito api asi tais trilokyam. Then we can be able to please Supreme Lord Krishna, who is Ajita, we can conquer him. And Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he has given this wonderful opportunity for all of us to make our human life successful, even though we remain at Grostha life. So he showed how we can keep Krishna in the center of all our activities. And in the next sloka, we see that when Indra sent rains, the flood waters break the irrigation dikes in the agriculture fields. Just like in the Kali Yuga, atheist false theories break down the boundaries of Vedic injunctions. So in Kali Yuga, so there are many people who are atheists. So they will come up with the false theories and misdirect the people. Sometimes some people can be in the dress of sannyasi and perform inappropriate activities or sinful activities. Due to that, there is a possibility that some of the people may lose their faith. So that's how the Kali Yuga's challenges are there. Kalir dosha nidhe rajan. So in Kali Yuga there are so many faults. But Astiyeko Mahaguna. So there is one great quality. What is that? Kirtanada eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramrachet. So when we chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, then we can come out from this cycle of birth and death and get the prema, Krishna prema, and then go back home, back to Godhead. And the next sloka, the clouds impelled by the wind so release their nectarian water for the benefit of all living beings, just as kings instructed by their Brahmana priests dispense their charity to the citizens. So when the clouds are impelled by the winds, then what happens that they will release the water, so which is nectarian, because it helps all the living entities to survive with this water. So similarly, in those days the kings were basically guided by the Brahmana priests. So those Brahmana priests guides the kings to perform the charity. So when this charity was given to the needy people, so then that kind of charity or that wealth is also nectarian. So that's why it is always recommended that the leaders should be guided by the Brahmanas. So then they will be giving the charity or perform their activities appropriately. So you will see the next slokas like that Vrindavana forest thus became resplendent, and we see that filled with ripe dates and jambu fruits, and Krishna surrounded by his cows and his boyfriends, cowherd boyfriends, accompanied by Balarama. So he enters into that forest to enjoy. And then the cows, we see that they move slowly because of their weight milk bags. So when the ruling is very appropriate and wonderful, then the everything will be flourished. The rains will come appropriately, and then crops will flourish, and then even the cows will nourished, and then they will give their milk bags will be full. And we see that when they quickly ran to the Supreme Lord when he called, so that is causing their udders to become better. So sometimes the milk bags are full, then when they were running, so the milk will fall down and the earth becomes wet. So when the ruling is very wonderful and they are ruling according to the scriptures, then what will happen? So everything will be flourished. So that's why we see that during the ruling of Yudhishthira Maharaj or Lord Ramachandra or Prithu Maharaj, so that ruling was very wonderful. So the cows will have the full of the milk bags, and the earth will be wet with that milk like that. And we say the Lord is very joyful, and here we see the indications that there are cows nearby. So the indications are there are aborigine girls, and then trees dripping sweet sap, and the mountains waterfall. These are all resounding. So because it is resounding means that there are caves nearby. And when there is a rain, when the Supreme Lord is in the forest performing his wonderful pastimes, and when there is a rain, what happens? What the Supreme Lord does with all his coward boyfriends? They will enter into the cave or the hole of a tree and then play. And also they eat roots and fruits. During this season, the roots and fruits are very fresh and tender, so they are very sweet and palatable. So the Krishna enjoys so eating those wonderful fruits and trees. So in the next sloka, so Krishna, we see that he takes the his meal, which is boiled rice and yogurt, that he brought from home in the company of the Supreme, the Lord Balarama, and along with his cowherd boys who regularly eat with him. So they will all sit down on a large stone near the water. So in the last two slokas, we see that Lord Krishna watches the bulls, calves, and cows sitting on the green grass and grazing with closed eyes. So, and he also saw that the cows were tired from the burden of their heavy milk bags, because their milk bags are very heavy. So when they are walking or running, so there it makes the cows to be tired. So like that, this the Vrindavana in the rainy season, so very beautiful, and it's so opulent. So Krishna is observing all these things, which is a source of great happiness. So he offered respects to the season, and it is also mentioned here that so this rainy season is also expanded from his own internal potency. So because all Krishna's pastimes and his appearance, everything is done through his internal potency. That's why it's Janma Karma Chame Divya. So all beautiful pastimes. So like this, Sukadeva Goswami is narrated this wonderful Vrindavana's autumn season or rainy season, comparing with giving so many analogies, so which helps us to understand the beauty of the rainy season. So I'll pause it here. Thank you all for joining. Vrindara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.